Are you ready? Come on up. Let's give Jonathan a warm welcome. And Jonathan, Clyde will give you a 5-minute and then a 2-minute.
Thank you, sir. I'm also, too, just going to time myself, not because I don't trust you, I just don't trust myself to stay within the time limit, because when you stick around recovery long enough, you find that you have more to talk about than there's time for. It's just a shift that starts to happen. You'll get to a point, if you haven't spoken at meetings before, Jonathan, alcoholic, by the way, if you haven't spoken at meetings before, you're going to get to a point where the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, that might startle you for a little bit. But after a while, you're going to be going to ones like TLC and other places where you're speaking for like 40 minutes plus. Time's going to go flying by and you're going to be like, oh shit, did I talk about recovery at all? You know, because there is a point to qualifying. So I'm going to qualify. I was adopted at 2 months old. My mom, heroin addict, at 15 years old had me and gave me up to the fire department in Pasadena, California. Set me right there. And a kind family decided, you know what, we're going to take this kid in and treat him as one of our own. Unconditional love. Lo and behold, I have a whole bunch of siblings that are also adopted. And it was very, very, very confusing. We're a United Nations family. We're all the same color. I have a sister who's African American. I got another one who's Hispanic. I got a couple that are mixed. We're all just an assorted bag of nuts. We cause our parents quite the amount of anguish and anger and all the lovely things that kids do. Except, I don't know, at some point I recognized, I can't say when, it was in elementary school at some point, I recognized that all of my friends, when we would get out of school and they were getting picked up by their family, they all looked the same. And then all of a sudden I go home and we don't all look the same. And I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And of course, I grew up with the original Twilight Zone, right? The black and white one, right? With It, the original movie, right? All kinds of like sci-fi, aliens and stuff like that. So I was absolutely convinced. I'm gonna preface this real quick before I say it. I'm not good at Mad Libs. I'm not. And Mad Libs is the game where they ask you to fill in the blank. They give you an adjective, a verb, a noun, and you just shoot out words with no context as to what they're going to read to you. And by the time they read it, it sounds like some of the most insane shit you'll ever hear in your life. And so here I am trying to play Mad Libs, and I don't know how to play it properly. You ask me to fill in the blanks and assume what's going on, I'm going to fuck it up. And I absolutely did. I'm looking at my siblings, and I'm like, they got to be aliens. They got to have come from another planet. Something has to be happening. And of course, because we were all different, we teased each other for being different from each other. Right? The whole point was to get under each other's skin, and that's exactly how we did it. Pranks weren't just simple goofs at our house, right? One person might prank by going ahead and flushing the toilet several times while you're taking a shower, so that way you're just scalding hot by the end of the shower. Next thing you know, you got a dog turd in your fucking bed. Like that's the level of pranking that we did on each other. We were vicious to each other. And we were a household of 13 individuals when my grandfather came to live with us, and that's when all hell broke loose. World War II vet, absolutely insane his damn self. But I kept growing up. I kept, getting older, and I knew about sex. Greatest thing in the world. But also, too, the most confusing thing, too. Because now, all of a sudden, knowing how biology works, I realized that my dad has to be a cuck. There's no way that this is working the way it's supposed to, right? Either my mom is cheating on my dad and he doesn't know, or he doesn't care, because where the fuck is everybody coming from? Why do we look the way we fucking do? And so I remember having this experience, and when I went through my 4-step the first time, this was the first time where I had tangible in front of me evidence of what it felt to be betrayed. Because here I am, I'm sitting down with my parents, and of course they're telling me about the birds and the bees. Secretly, I already know it. But then they're also telling me how my siblings are adopted. I'm like, okay, now, in one breath, the whole world made sense. I had all the answers to the world. Nothing was confusing to me anymore. I didn't have to worry about how I was trying to navigate shit. Everything seemed clear. And in the next breath, they said that I was adopted too, and I said, what? I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. What do you mean I'm adopted? Also, too, newsflash, spoiler alert, Easter Bunny's not real, Santa's not real, like all this shit, right? All at the same fucking time. And this is coming from my parents. Yeah, the tooth fairy, which I'm fine with that. I didn't understand how that was supposed to work. Who comes into my room to steal a tooth? Like, that's just weird, man. I'd believe in a fat guy trying to squeeze his ass down a chimney before I believed in a tooth fairy trying to take your teeth. I'm just saying. So here I am, and I all of a sudden I've got the do what I want card, you know? You're not my parents. This is not my house. This is not where I'm living. I am, but like it's not my home. And I did, you know? I had this bright idea. Mind you, if you guys have bright ideas, right? These are things where you're not exactly sure whether you should or shouldn't run with it. If you got a bright idea, my suggestion would be to go ahead and write it down on a piece of paper, light it on fire, and see how bright it really is. Because chances are it's going to be kind of stupid. At least a lot of mine were. One of the ones that I had was that I was going to be a better parent than my parents were. So, of course, I ended up having a daughter at the age of 13. That's exactly what we did. We got busy. And then, towards the end of high school, it was decided between me and the mother that we were going to get married. Why? Because we're traditionalists. So, of course, you have a child with somebody, you do your best to make it work. That's just what you do. No ifs, ands, or asses about it. See, because one of the things that I learned in that hospital room after I came to, I fainted during the process. After I came to, one of the things I realized is that my life was no longer just my own. I had a responsibility for something greater than me, and I had to do what was supposed to be done. But mind you, I'm still a kid myself. I don't know exactly what the fuck I'm supposed to do. You know, I used to look at people who are normal in all respects, where they could take the drink, put it down, you know, take the drugs, put it down, and scratch my head, because it's like they must have some kind of like secret manual that I just never got, you know, how to make it work, how to be able to take all the emotions and everything else that they're currently feeling, go ahead and blot it out with whatever it is that they're using and just keep it pushing. I can't even do that. Like my life slowly started to dissolve into just wreckage, absolute wreckage. You know, I'm already experimenting with all kinds of substances. I'm at late middle school, early high school. I'm going around and I'm selling people what's called mollylops. I'm doing cocaine, all kinds of stuff, and it's great because hey, the relief that I got was immediate. I no longer had to worry about what was going on in my head or the stuff that was going on in my heart. I was no longer scared. I was full of courage. I was no longer concerned about my welfare or other people's welfare. It's like I was given blanketed immunity to just go ahead and act however I was going to act and not be concerned about the consequences, because it was taken away from me. In that immediate instance, taken away from me. I could breathe at last. I could settle. I could feel calm. And that's how it continued for a good period of time. Towards the end of high school, that's exactly what happened. We got married. 3 months later, my wife gets killed in a car accident right outside of PCC. So now all of a sudden I got this young daughter to raise who lost her mom. And I'd love to tell you that I was a great father. I wasn't. I would love to tell you that I was constantly present like my parents were for me. I wasn't. I would love to be able to tell you that I did better than my parents had done for me. I didn't. And the reason why I'm saying that in past tense is because 3 years later my daughter was murdered. So now here I am, and the entire purpose that I had in this world is gone from me. I don't have purpose. And a man without purpose, a person without purpose, is just a wandering soul existing. That's it. No ambition, no drive, no desire, because it doesn't matter what you put in front of me. You can put a lot of money in front of me. That's great. I know how to have a good time, but I'm not trying to build anything. I'm not trying to do anything with any kind of sense of meaning or definition, because the very thing that I considered to be my world, gone from me, stripped from me. And it sucked. Mind you, there were plenty of adventures that I had, good, bad, and ugly. Got in a fight with the porta potty at a rave, I lost. Found myself in Pasadena at one point, and then out in the Pacific Ocean past Catalina Islands on a yacht party, petting what I thought was a dolphin, but turned out to be a juvenile shark. I went kayaking down a mountainside with no snow because, damn it, I was going to kayak anyways, and then got pissed off at the park rangers because a branch clotheslined me, and I figured that they had put it there on purpose to get me to stop kayaking. All kinds of weird stuff, man. All kinds of weird stuff. But the problem is that I wasn't living. I didn't know it at the time. What I'm telling you right now is based upon information that I found through the 12-step process. And I can point to either side. It doesn't matter. Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous. In my opinion, NEA but the DA is all right with me, right? So here I am with this understanding now that at least back then I was existing. Was I having fun? Incrementally. Was I having a good time? Sparingly. But was I living? No, and I thought I was, man. I thought I was living it to the fucking fullest. But why is it that no matter how much experience I was having, whether it was fun, not fun, exciting, dangerous, criminal, I love illegal shit, why is it that I still felt empty? Why is it that I felt like a shell, hollow inside? Why is it that no matter how much I put up my nose or down my throat or into my veins, I could not feel whole? What the fuck was missing? And I couldn't figure it for me, man. But after my daughter's death, December 2008, I got into the Salvation Army in Pasadena. And I would love to tell you that I was the poster child for everything that you weren't supposed to do at a Christian program. They made a decision for whatever reason to make me the night watchman in my second month there, and the night watchman is the individual who's responsible for doing some light janitorial work at night, no supervision whatsoever. It's a night shift, night duty, right? And then early in the morning, about 4 o'clock, to start waking people up for their work assignments. No supervision. No supervision. So of course, what do? I'm ordering pizzas, I'm bringing hookers over, I'm having a blast, right? All the stuff that you're not supposed to do. I found out at that program that the program director, whose husband worked in the religious part, was banging a bunch of the beneficiaries, and I saw a financial opportunity because I'm not one for sloppy seconds. There's a party going on like that, you can leave me out of it, but I don't say no to the greenbacks. I don't say no to the money. And so I put a nanny cam in her office, and I blackmailed her with the evidence, and of course I'm getting paid $2,000 a month to just keep my mouth shut. You know, all kinds of stuff were happening at that program, and I was facilitating a lot of it. We were taking stuff out of the warehouse, and we were putting it into this regular store instead of the boutique store, even though it's like high-priced items, and then quickly having somebody on the outside buy them for dirt cheap, and then reselling them later on at other places, right? I had a couple of people who would go on the truck routes to take in donations, but also to hit a lick in the process and come back and divide up the spoils. A lot of different things. I also, too, though, got introduced to the 12 steps. And at the time, I'm going to preface this real quick. The only lie, the worst lie in recovery that you can ever commit to is denial. Self-deception can keep you doing things and thinking that you're doing something completely different for years. Get you stuck thinking that you're free. Keep you chained thinking that you're out doing whatever you need to do. And so here I am, and I'm going through the 12-step process, and I'm involved. You know, I know how to program. I'm highly intellectual. I know how to program. I know how to process. But the thing about this program is that it's not a program of the educational variety. It's a program of living. And up until this point, I have no idea how the fuck to live. None whatsoever. How do I function like other people who seem to have no care in the world and go about their day just getting things done and having new experiences? I don't know how to do that. So here I am. I'm going through the 12-step process, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm a poster child. I got a sponsee today who likes to talk about being trying to be Dr. Bob's reincarnate. You know, I really thought that at the time I was like Bill W. You know, I knew the book forward and backwards. I could recite shit to you all the time, all this different stuff, right? But it was evident that I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I had an old timer tell me one time at a meeting. He's like, there's people who get it, but don't get it. And I didn't understand that. And I told him too. I said, man, I don't get that. And he just started laughing. He wouldn't explain it to me. He just started laughing because apparently I was one of the individuals who got it but didn't get it. And it was self-evident because I didn't understand what he was talking about. There's this word that we use called intimacy, and intimacy is just a simple understanding or an exchange between two people without too much thought or vocalization. Where simple hand gestures, a nod of the head, anything like that, there's a mutual understanding between two people. They immediately understand what's going on. And brother, at that point, I didn't understand shit. I just didn't know I didn't know. So here I am going through the 12-step process, and I'm taking care of other things on the side. I'm doing what I need to do, right? And I find myself at an H&I panel at Gladys Park on a Tuesday in Skid Row. And I'm talking about being adopted. I'm talking about how it was like growing up. And at the break, during the point of coffee, this lady comes up, and the best way to describe her was somebody who had stretched a burlap sack over a skeletal frame. Damn near non-existent. She turned sideways, bam, where did she go? I have no idea. Skinny, withdrawn, unhealthy. And she came up to me and she started talking to me at the break about the stuff that I was saying. Now, I didn't go to the Maurice show. I didn't take a DNA test, right? None of that shit. But a lot of the stuff that she was talking about and information she had, the only other people that had that information was my physician at the time, or my parents, or myself. And I do believe to this day that the individual that I was talking to at that point was my biological mother. There is this part in Bill's story where he talks about his friend Ebby Thatcher. He doesn't say Ebby Thatcher's name, but he says my friend. Emphasized the absolute necessity of demonstrating or practicing these principles in all my affairs, particularly how imperative it is that I work with others as people have worked with me, right? Sponsorship. For if an alcoholic like me, I don't know about you guys, but if an addict, alcoholic like me, fails to perfect and enlarge my spiritual life through self-sacrifice and work for others, I will not be able to survive the certain trials and low spots ahead. If I do not work with another person, I will drink again or use. And if I do that, I will die. And then faith will be dead indeed. With me, it turned out to be just like that. Why? I hadn't worked with nobody. I had sponsors. And I was giving them my solution. I wasn't helping them navigate a solution to their problems like Bill W. talks about shortly after that paragraph. I was giving them my solution. Here's how I'm going to fix your problems. Can't even fucking fix my own, but here's how I'm going to fix yours. And here I am experiencing a trial and a low spot. And I didn't survive it. I found myself on the east side of Pasadena pulling a Jack Nicholson from the Departed. Alcohol and cocaine, my two favorite substances, man. Just back and forth. I have a lot of ego. I have a lot of pride. A lot of anger. You wouldn't be able to tell today. Dr. William D. Silkworth describes that in The Doctor's Opinion. But I was an individual who was just full of venom and animosity, just to humanity in general, right? And so much so that suicide wasn't a thing for me. I wasn't the individual who was like, oh, if it gets too bad, I'm going to kill myself. It was, if it gets too bad, I've got plenty of people that I would like to take out with me, and if I happen to die in the process, then I go too. But I'm going to take someone else with me, right? But here I am, 6, almost 7 days into this binge. Paranoid as all shit. I'm bipolar, off my medication, self-medicating. It's no longer that I'm just hearing things and seeing things. My memories are bleeding into my reality. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that on dope, but my memories are bleeding into my reality. I am simultaneously in the motel room, but then at the same time having tangible, physical experiences with people that are no longer here and people I've never seen before in my fucking life. And for whatever reason, no matter, again, how much I put down my throat or up my nose, my head won't stop spinning and my heart won't stop hurting. Now, the drugs and the alcohol, they used to do that for me. Doctor's opinion talks about it plain and simple. That men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced. How many of you guys like lima beans? Raise your hands. Okay, there's a couple of you. My dad would treat you as buddies. Absolutely. I hate them. I absolutely fucking hate them. All right, here, let me try this weird concoction. My dad, when I was little, had me try a sandwich he made. It was peanut butter and mayonnaise with a slice of fucking lettuce right in between. How many of you guys would like to try that shit? Damn, man. Look, hey, there's always going to be somebody who likes the effect produced by some shit that you may not like. I know plenty of people like Corona. Tastes like piss to me. Don't ask me how, just trust that I know. I know plenty of people that like crack cocaine. The bells and the whistles never went off for me. I wanted a refund. I was told I couldn't do that. Yeah, wasted my money. I had somebody tell me it must have been bad dope. I don't care. I didn't like meth, but I know plenty of people that did. No. Let me F this here. I did like the effect produced. I was with the paralegal and everything was fun. But after a while, that shit, sorry ladies, it's my story. That shit wouldn't go down. It's like they talk about in the fucking commercials, after 4 hours, seek professional help. And it wouldn't. So I ended up in an emergency room a couple of blocks away in a pink satin robe and Hello Kitty slippers with nothing else on. Strutting back and forth in the emergency room, completely spazzed the fuck out, talking about how it won't go down. And they finally got me into a hospital room. A doctor came in with a hypodermic needle. It was maybe about that big. Not anywhere big, but to me it was like this fucking big, right? Jammed that thing right into the most sensitive part of my manhood and made that motherfucker disappear for 3 days. I thought I was broken. I said, after that, fuck it. I'm not fucking with that shit. But acid, shrooms, right? Absolutely. Weed, I'm not a big smoker. I don't like to inhale too much. I don't know why. I'm just weird like that. But damn it, you put that motherfucker in the oven, you let it cook for a while and then open it. Hell, I'll get baked right along with you. It happened before. It was fantastic. Alcohol, cocaine, great. I like the effect produced. Why? Because my current situation has become so unacceptable to me that I need that almost immediate relief. So here I am at the end of that. And the husband of the lady who I blackmailed 12 steps me. And for a whole hour and a half, I wouldn't let him in. I wouldn't even talk to him. He could tell I was there because he could smell me. But I wouldn't let him talk to me at all. Why? Because I thought he was there to kill me. For sure, he had to. I fucked up his marriage and everything. There was a huge fallout behind all that shit. Finances and everything. But no, he got me into the Royal Palms. My recovery journey started at the Royal Palms, went to the Midnight Mission, and has continued ever since. I found myself September 6, 2011, staring at that hotel right there by MacArthur Park, where they find bodies and all other fun stuff happens. Trying to figure out what the fuck I was going to do. And I'm telling you right now, I had no answer. You know, when they talk about being sick and tired of being sick and tired, I understand what the fuck that means today. I had absolutely no answer. And I can still remember that first day with clear, livid memory. I can't tell you about the next 60 or so. The withdrawals were absolutely insane. I heard a lot of stories. Not a lot of them were pleasant. But that day, staring at that hotel, knowing I was going to walk in there, getting the cotton mouth, the hands shaking and everything, right? Beads of sweat, but I'm dehydrated like a motherfucker, so I don't know where the moisture's coming from. And I know that at some point, physically speaking, at some point, I was going to have to still my nerves. I was going to have to take something because the withdrawal could potentially kill me. So I couldn't even guarantee that I was going to spend any time there. But what I did understand, all the stuff I didn't know, what I did understand is that for the first time in my life, I didn't want any of the shit that I was leaving behind. I was done. I was absolutely done. I had contemplated suicide for the first time in my life because the drugs and the alcohol had stopped working, stopped doing what they're supposed to do. And to the point of writing letters to the fucking cleaning crew and the people who own the motel for having to mop up my body and all kinds of other shit. Weird stuff, man. So here I am, and I start going through the 12-step process, and my first sponsor suggested to me that I attend regular meetings and everything, to also too go to big book studies and workshops, which I did. I'm a proud big book thumper, but I've got lived experience behind it. It's not so much that I just remember the book, it's the simple fact that the stuff that I do remember is tied to me uniquely because of experiences that I have. Like, for instance, in the doctor's opinion, he talks about knowing a patient and a year later seeing that patient, and though recognizing him partially by feature and knowing his name, all other resemblance ended. That from a trembling, despairing, nervous wreck had emerged a man brimming over with self-reliance and contentment. It's a promise. I came in absolutely fucking broken. I had no desire to live. I just wanted shit to end, and I'm telling you, based upon my experiences, including things that I've not talked about today, it seemed to me like God wouldn't take me home, and yet, at the same time, wouldn't allow me to live. So if I'm not going to die, then what the fuck am I going to do? I started going through the 12-step process. I got to 4 and 5. I found it to be a hit list. I was happy for it. Mind you, I'm 25 at this point. I'm at the midnight mission. I got these guys that are twice, almost 3 times my age. And this is with respect to the older crowd, right? For those of you who are coming in here at the age you are, with great respect, I'm glad you're here. Keep your seat, please. But I'm telling you, you guys served as a perfect example at that point too. Because guess what? I remember having this conversation with my sponsor after getting pissed off, and at the end of that conversation, he told me, well, it seems to me like those individuals you're talking about at one point thought that they had time too. And that shit scared the fuck out of me. I didn't know it at the time until I got into the inventory, but it scared the fuck out of me. Because what I saw was that I could be in that exact same fucking position. And I didn't want it. If I wasn't going to be dead, if I wasn't going to go home to the 2 most important people in my life who were waiting on me, then I had to do something. And that was my attitude for a very long time in recovery. Very long time. That I'm just kind of moving through and helping people where I can. I'm paying restitution for the harm that I caused to those that I'll never be able to see again until it's my time to go too. But that the 2 most important people in my life are waiting on me, and I can't wait until I get to be reunited with them. That's the attitude that I carried for a very long time. Very long time. I get through the 12 steps, and mind you, it's not a graduation ceremony, it's not a completion, but fuck, for like 10 years I thought it was. For 10 years I thought all I had to do was just go through the 12 steps once, that was it. As long as I took other people through them, then I don't have to worry about going through it again. And I really got sick, man. And here's the crazy part. You don't need the drugs and the alcohol to get sick. This is the reason why they talk about it being a spiritual malady. Because the insanity returns and then I drink. I've never gotten loaded from a loaded state of mind. I've stayed loaded in a loaded state of mind, but I've only ever gotten loaded from a sober state. How the fuck does that work? Take all the experiences that I've ever had that show me that it doesn't fucking work time and time again, but put one in front of me without a spiritual connection to God, and I'm telling you right now, it's not going to come to my mind that I shouldn't fucking do it. I'm like the guy with the stove that doesn't know how to fuck with it properly. Burn my hands every time. Then after burning my hands for a while, I realized, damn, if I'm going to burn my hands, I need to get some oven mitts. That way I don't burn them as much, right? The whole time everybody else is telling me I should just stop fucking with the stove. My brain ain't telling me that. Oven mitts, got it. Hey, you should stop fucking with the stove. I don't know. Oven mitts, all right. Get the oven mitts, I'm still burning my hands. Damn. Now what do? If I'm going to burn my hands, even through the oven mitts, then I might as well as get first aid kits, right? That way I can just bandage them up. Once again, everybody else is looking at it just going, dude, just stop fucking with the stove. Right. My brain instead is like, nah. My first aid kits, got it. Immediately, no hesitation, right? Then after a while, man, I'm going through that, and I'm getting to a point where I can't do anything. Physically getting fucked up behind this. And suddenly, all of a sudden, I become sweetly reasonable, and I start telling these individuals who the whole time have been telling me, hey, just stop fucking with the stove. Like, damn, you know what? I don't think I know how to fuck with the stove properly. I think I'm going to stop fucking with my stove. And to all their relief, like, oh my God, he finally gets it. Oh. But then, that mind, that insanity comes in once again, and I say to them in the same breath, you know what though? My neighbor has a stove. I'm going to fuck with that. And once again, I'm off and running. Because it never comes to my mind that I should stop. It's always change the people I'm buying from, change the people I'm drinking with, change the playground and the play dates, but don't change the tools. And I keep getting fucked up. So here I am. I've gone through the 12-step process. And lo and behold, I find myself having to run through it again. My life spiritually has gotten quite unmanageable, full of pride and ego because I know a thing or two, but I'm not living. And I acquired a new sponsor, not because the old sponsor wasn't effective. He was very, very, very effective. It's just I needed a different experience, a new experience. And I've been with that sponsor ever since, and I'm part of a lineage today that has a vast number of individuals that go through the steps. And here's the funny thing, my recovery process has evolved. Because again, if my recovery process, if my spiritual condition does not evolve and does not continue to grow, I will eventually either plateau and then get sick or just immediately get sick. And usually I don't plateau, I just immediately get sick. And so today, when I go through the steps, I go through the steps with my sponsees. That's what I do. And here's the funny thing. In our lineage, we go through 4, 5, 6, and 7 at the same fucking time. And I've had plenty of people look at me and go, why? You know, they're in a list, they're in an order. They're categorized like that for us to read, not for us to do. 1, 2, and 3 is simple.